Riva wasn't a badly written character, it was a badly edited show. I'm just gonna skip that one. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Fibs Reacts. Today I'm going to be reacting to unpopular Star Wars opinions on Reddit. Let's go. Alright, first up. The Ewoks in Return of the Jedi were cool. It's one of the species we spend the most time with in the OT and explore their culture. They actually play into the plot as well as serve into the theme of the power of the people taking on the technological powerhouse Empire using primitive weaponry. Wicket is that dude. I mean, yeah, that's fair. I know that the Ewoks can tend to get a bit of hate, just because, you know, I guess people think they're annoying little creatures, but I'm pretty indifferent when it comes to the Ewoks. Like, I would say that, yeah, like it does kind of make a good point of, you know, you're going to almost like the weakest of the weak when it comes to like the rebellion against the Empire. You have these tiny bears taking on, you know, like the magnitude of the Empire. So I guess in that sense, it is kind of a cool example of, or a good representation of, like, you know, a small kind of underdog going up against something, you know, impossibly more powerful than they are, and they actually end up winning. And yeah, Wicket is that dude. Wicket's cool. All right, this one says, Ahsoka should have died at the end of the Clone Wars. I don't think she should have died. I do think that Ahsoka has really come a long way as a character. You know, she started out as, you know, a character who the fandom really didn't like to begin with. Ahsoka got a lot of backlash when she first kind of came on the scene. But as time went on and we saw, you know, this progression in her character, a lot of maturity in her character also, which kind of bled into Rebels also, and we saw more of Ahsoka as kind of a mentor type figure. And then, you know, definitely in the Ahsoka series, we definitely see her in a more mentor role. I don't think she should have died necessarily at the end of the Clone Wars, because I do think there was still, even at that point, you know, a lot more maturity that we had still yet to see in her character. So I still think there was a lot more stories to be told with Ahsoka even after the Clone Wars. All right, someone says the Ghost is a better ship than the Millennium Falcon. Have mercy on me, people. So for those of you who don't know, the Ghost is the main ship in Star Wars Rebels. I would say overall, yeah, it's a pretty cool design, and obviously the Phantom is kind of a smaller ship that connects to the Ghost. So it's really two ships when you think about it. But yeah, I mean, the Ghost is a cool ship. Is it cooler than the Millennium Falcon? Is it better than the Millennium Falcon? I don't know, because the Millennium Falcon is like pretty iconic. But I guess the Ghost has also, you know, kind of become pretty iconic. But when you think about the Millennium Falcon, a lot of people who may not even know Star Wars know the Millennium Falcon. Like, everybody knows that ship. So as far as, like, is the Ghost better than the Millennium Falcon? As much as the Ghost is pretty cool, I don't think it's better than the Millennium Falcon, in my opinion. Riva wasn't a badly written character, it was a badly edited show. I'm just gonna skip that one. Solo is a significantly better overall film than Rogue One. Rogue One is a great third act, but very choppy and disjointed for the most part, while Solo has better acting, direction, and overall the story flows much better. I mean, when you compare Solo to Rogue One, I guess they are pretty similar in the vein of, you know, they are like these one-off stories of Star Wars. But as far as saying, you know, Solo is better than Rogue One, I would probably have to disagree. And I actually like Solo. I know a lot of people didn't like Solo, but I actually really enjoyed it. And I find myself rewatching it a couple times actually. But I am a huge fan of Rogue One, which I understand also got a lot of backlash, and people, like a lot of people didn't like Rogue One, which to this day I still don't understand, because it's like it's so grounded. It's like a war film. But, you know, as far as saying like Solo has better acting, direction, and overall the story flows much better, I would say the story flows pretty well between the two movies. I would say both movies are acted very well. I would say, if anything, there are weaker performances in Solo than there are in Rogue One, despite the fact that Solo has very strong performances. I would say one of the strongest being Paul Bettany as the villain. I am blanking on his name, but Paul Bettany plays the bad guy in Solo, and just like a super like chilling performance, and really just plays a villain very well. So, you know, I would say both films are almost kind of equal in my opinion. But I do have a bit of bias towards Rogue One, just because I think it's just really good. All right, this person says, I wish Darth Maul actually really died in The Phantom Menace. The Clone Wars and Rebels ruined the character, from silent and ruthless Sith warrior to loudmouth, saber-wielding thug. Ugh. I don't know. I mean, I guess it would have kind of held more weight if Maul would have actually died at the end of The Phantom Menace. And I do think that would have been more of kind of a victory in Obi-Wan's sense, in, you know, avenging Qui-Gon's death. However, I do think that when they brought him back in the Clone Wars, it was very well done. And I think when he just went on a complete rampage and, you know, like took over Mandalore, and obviously the rivalry between him and Obi-Wan was also kind of reignited. Also his dealings with the pirates and everything. If you haven't watched that arc in the Clone Wars TV show, I would very much recommend it. And as far as his inclusion in Rebels, I mean, I wasn't crazy about the final battle between him and Obi-Wan. I felt like it was a little underwhelming, in my opinion. I feel like it could have had more of a... It could have had like more meat to it. Like it could have been kind of drawn out a bit longer. But I did like those, you know, final words, or the final exchange between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, you know, where they kind of come to terms with everything and kind of find this kind of, I guess, connection. And Darth Maul is just like, you know, is he the chosen one, you know? And I just think that was a really cool moment between those two characters, especially with, you know, where they started out. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think, you know, Darth Maul actually dying at the end of The Phantom Menace could have, I mean, it would have changed a lot. But as far as the Clone Wars and Rebels, like, ruining his character, I would have to disagree. Okay, last one for today. Boba Fett is grossly overrated. Boba Fett gets his ass handed to him way more often than he dishes out. This guy, from Return of the Jedi to his own show, gets beat up by everyone. Yeah, I mean, Boba Fett is a bit of a cannon fodder type character. I mean, he does just seem to get the bad rap overall. I do think that Boba Fett just, like, he just could have been handled a lot better as a character. When they first introduced Boba Fett, you know, he was this kind of mysterious bounty hunter, obviously wearing the helmet. We couldn't see his face. We didn't know who he was. He was always just kind of in the background, just kind of hanging out, just kind of lurking around. And obviously he, you know, kind of played a bit of a more crucial role in Empire Strikes Back, which was basically his first introduction, aside from the holiday special, in the transportation of Han Solo and Carbonite to Jabba. Obviously that was all Boba Fett. And then obviously in, Return of the Jedi, yeah, he did have a bit of an embarrassing defeat by having his jetpack compromised by a blind man, where he then spun out of control and fell into a giant sandworm. And of course, they brought him back in the Book of Boba Fett, which overall just wasn't that impressive of a show. And honestly, I was not very crazy about it. And also, I do think it just, they really kind of changed like his character overall, like in that show, where Boba Fett started out as being, or what was supposed to be a more ruthless, like tough kind of bounty hunter. By the end of the Book of Boba Fett, he's like this kind of like nice guy, and he's like running this town, but he's gonna do it the right way. Like it doesn't feel like Boba Fett. Like it feels like a completely different guy. And I'm not saying that like redemption arcs can't be good, but I just think with someone like Boba Fett in particular, that's just not him, So I do think his character could have been handled better, even in Return of the Jedi. You want to talk about a character who was killed off too early? I definitely think Boba Fett met his demise way earlier than he should have. And he could have been fleshed out into a lot better character overall. All right, guys, so that's it for today. As far as these unpopular Star Wars opinions, I had a lot of fun doing this, and I think I most likely will be doing a part 2. So be on the lookout for that. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what you see. Also, feel free to check out my other videos. I do a lot of reaction type videos, and for those of you who are just now kind of finding my channel, I'm kind of in a bit of a revamp era right now. I started this channel years ago, but I'm kind of trying to bring it back the best I can. Let me know what kind of content you guys would like to see in the comments below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, catch you later.